Good morning. Welcome to Incident Response Forum Masterclass 2021. I'm Bruce Carton, the editor of Cybersecurity Docket and Securities Docket, and I am delighted to welcome everyone to the only conference that focuses on the field solely of incident response, which is the work that begins after a data breach that's quickly become the fastest growing practice area at law firms and consulting firms. And I'm delighted to be joined this morning by John Stark, who is my co-organizer of this event and who will also be our MC throughout the day. Welcome, John.
Good morning, Bruce.
Let me give a quick introduction for John, if you are unfamiliar. My good friend for 3 decades now, since our time in the SEC's enforcement division. He's been doing IR for most of his career, starting with 11 years as the founder and chief of the SEC's Office of Internet Enforcement. Then for 5 years as the DC office head at Strauss Friedberg. Then another 20 years as an adjunct professor at Georgetown and now Duke Law School, teaching cyber law. And finally now as the president of his own consulting firm, John Reed Stark Consulting. John has written hundreds, maybe even thousands by now, of articles on the subject of cyber law and incident response. He's a world-class expert in this field, and we are lucky to have you here, John. Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce. Thanks.
We have held these in-person, not this one in person, but we have held in-person IR forums in DC and Los Angeles for over 5-6 years now. And most recently, since March of last year, we've held this event and related forums on IR in Europe, ransomware, as virtual events. And one great thing we found about having it be virtual is that so many more people can attend and benefit from it. We actually have just under 2,000 people registered as of this morning. So thank you everybody for registering. John, what should people expect from this conference that they may not see other places?
So fired up, Bruce. Biggest ever, more experts than ever, more attendees than ever. Thanks to all my LinkedIn friends for registering. We're thrilled to be your outline. If you're attending an IR forum for the first time, what makes this forum different than any other event you've been to, really 3 things. First, the method of speaking, no PowerPoint decks, no choreographed speeches, no scripted presentations, just discussions. And hopefully lots of questions from the audience that are all answered by the panel. The quality of the speakers, we've got an exceptionally talented group comprised of government people, former government people, very esteemed practitioners, really seasoned group of experts. Then the subject matter. This is the only conference in the world dedicated exclusively to the legal issues of incident response, a practice area that has experienced explosive growth over the last few years. Our goal today is for you to walk away not just better informed, but having learned more than you ever have at any other conference you've ever attended in your life. So kick back and relax, and let's get started, Bruce. I'm going to run over to the other room and get the first panel ready.
All right, you're setting the bar very high for this conference. Hopefully we can meet it.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll see you at 8:40, John.
See you later.
All right, I'd like to share my screen now real quick with those of you who are on with us. And before we get started, let me just say a quick thank you to some of the firms that have made this conference possible. First, a special thank you to Kroll, which is the lead sponsor of this event and has been just the best partner possible. Also to Oric, which is our lead law firm sponsor, but to our other corporate sponsors, Ankara, CrowdStrike, Crypsys, which is now part of Palo Alto, FTI, John Reed Stark Consulting, Resilience, Sard Verbinnen, Stone Turn, Strauss Friedberg. Thank you very much for your tremendous support. And then on the law firm side, a huge thank you to the 22 law firms who have stepped up to sponsor this event this year. When you look at this list of law firms, you see a list of the best law firms in the world in the incident response space. So you are in good hands here. The screen that we're looking at right here, this is the event summary page. A couple of quick housekeeping items. This is the page you started on in the morning. I have it up on my screen, but a couple quick things on here. There's a CLE tab here on the left. When you click through, you'll get to another page. It has all the CLE links and information you will need. The event's been approved for up to 9.75 hours of CLE in many states. You can check the website for all the details. The website will do periodic alertness checks throughout the day to satisfy CLE requirements. So please respond to those when you see them if you're interested in getting CLE. There's also a materials page here. You can click through there to get some excellent materials that expand and discuss in further detail a lot of the issues we'll be talking about today. There is a sessions page. This is the live session, live page here. You can get complete information on everybody's bio, all the different panels, the time they're starting, all of that information. And finally, there's an evaluations page if you want to leave feedback. We'd welcome that as well. All right, let me end my screen share here real quick. If any of you want to take part in the Twitter discussion, you can see there's a Twitter bar on the side. The hashtag we're using is IRF Masterclass. In other words, Incident Response Forum Masterclass. And so far there's one tweet. That's my tweet. I hope there'll be some others. So please join in the discussion. You see there's also a chat function, which it looks like is already kicked off. This is a fun feature of this player. It allows you to send a comment out to the entire audience. It has proven time and time again to be a very fun and very interactive feature. So please join in, give us your thoughts, weigh in on the different issues that are being discussed. It makes the day more interesting. Throughout the day, between the panels, we'll be playing some short videos from panelists who are offering their one big thing, something that they consider to be a key takeaway for attendees of the event. And these are brief by design. They're usually less than a minute, but they're very informative and they're usually very interesting. Finally, all of our forums are designed to be a day of discussion, a day of interaction, not only between the panelists, but between you and the panelists. And so we encourage and we appreciate your questions. If you have a question, just type it into the questions box, not the chat box, which is kind of like goes out to everybody, but the questions box, which goes into the panelists, and they will definitely try to answer as many questions as they can. The questions don't appear on the screen. They only go into the panelists, so don't worry about that. All right, so we really appreciate everybody joining us today. We're going to get started with the first panel at 8:40, so we'll see you back here in just a minute.